we have been a strong Christian ethos nation. And it's been our identity in that ethos that has been the glue for our society. If we are in a post-Christian society, that glue has gone that identified us as a Christian ethos nation. We need to seriously recalibrate now, because if we don't, the future without that glue is going to be chaos. So, for the last 300 years, I would say that we've had a system of governance that the only reason it has worked is not been because of our system of constitutional monarchy. The only reason it has worked, is because for that period of time, we have been a strong Christian ethos nation. And it's been our identity in that ethos that has been the glue for our society. It has not been the monarch. He's not been the glue. It's not been our parliamentary system. That has not been the glue. Not even common law has been the glue, although common law, that judicial system, is probably, amongst the best in the world. But even that has not been the glue. I would say that the glue for our society has been this single issue, has been, as a nation, up until recent times, we've identified ourselves as a Christian ethos nation. And because of that, and because of the teachings of the New Testament, we've been taught tolerance. We've been taught fairness. We've also been taught that you don't kick against authority, that you respect authority, okay? And this has been very much a top-heavy form of British Christianity that is being taught by the bishops and the Church of England, who of course are part of the House of Lords, etc. That is, Christians don't stir things up. Christians don't kick against the goad, you don't rock the boat. You accept your lot in life. This is a very British form of Christianity, and that you accept higher authorities that are over you. And it's only because of that ethos in our society that this system has maintained up to this present time. And it's not been without its fractures, because if we were to look at the end of the 18th century, the beginning of the 19th century, this nation would have almost gone the same way as the French Revolution, because there was deep discontent in this nation about the monarchy and the parliamentary system. And that was not long after the Bill of Rights, right? So there was deep discontent, and there was an underlying feeling that the same thing was happening. The crown wasn't serving us, the parliamentary system wasn't serving us, and so we needed a violent revolution. The only thing that kept that in check was our Christian ethos. That's the only thing. And so I would say that that's the glue that has kept our nation together. It wouldn't have mattered whether we were a Republican system or whatever, this and that or the other. The thing that's kept us together is that glue as a Christian ethos nation. Now we are a post-Christian society. We have to accept that. So now that glue has gone. It's gone. And I don't think it's going to come back, realistically. So now it's a case of saying, okay, if we are in a post-Christian society, that glue has gone that identified us as a Christian ethos nation. We need to seriously recalibrate now, because if we don't, the future without that glue is going to be chaos, and I think violent anarchy.
Oh yeah, I've been talking about this now for about a month. I interviewed a gentleman, a professor at King's College London, called David Betts, Professor of War, and he's predicting a English civil war in the next 5 years. Not the way we imagine a civil war, this army and that army. He's talking about guerrilla warfare. He's talking about assassinations, kidnappings, killings, bombs going off. He's more talking about Northern Ireland troubles than Roundheads and Cavaliers attacking each other. And that's because of the splitting of society.
The splitting of ideologies as well.
Yeah.
There are different ideologies in our nation now that do not respect democracy. And because of that, it's going to create a clash. It's just a logical conclusion. And because we're not a Christian nation anymore, we're a post-Christian ethos nation. There are now ideologies within our nation that are undermining not only our history, the fabric of it, but are undermining the actual essence of what it means to live in a democratic society. There are ideologies in our nation that don't believe in democracy, and yet our parliamentary system is giving them space to breathe and to flourish. So that's only going to end in tears.
We were successful. I'm not sure if it's because we're a Christian country. I think it was more likely because we were an island nation.
That's partly the benefit.
And we had geography, strong borders. Apart from one or two invasions, it was the same people. and we developed that mentality that peace and getting along and trade was the way to success, not invading each other all the time. So that developed, but we don't have that anymore now. We now have open borders. We now have people living here with completely different values to us. It's not that they're different to us. It's they're completely different to us. And we've developed a mindset here of being tolerant, but we're also tolerant of the intolerant.
It's a naivety, which I think, for me, it's a naivety that we have equated kindness with letting anybody do what they want to do, or any ideology can come into our country. It's also, I think, an idea, which I think is a neo-Marxist idea, which is that all ideologies are equal. Therefore, if all ideologies are equal, all ideologies are welcome. Well, history will tell you that all ideologies are not equal. The history of our modern world, our recent history, will tell you that all ideologies are not equal. Some ideologies are better than others. Okay, so if you have this kind of university, I'm sat on the toilet reading Marx or some other left-wing publication, it tells you, you know, we're all equal and all ideologies are equal. You're then going to take that into society. It doesn't work, but you're going to take it into society, and you're going to force society to accept the myth that it's not about ideologies. Of course it's about ideologies, because ideologies is a worldview. And if your worldview will determine how you treat your common man, it will determine how you form a society. So yes, of course it's about ideologies, and that's why we should have been on our guard about inviting certain ideologies into our nation that have no regard for the rule of law and also have no regard for the principles of democracy. But in our naivety, and because I think of this erroneous, I would say erroneous understanding of the New Testament and the scriptures, which is everybody's got to be nice and kind to each other and, you know, always turn the other cheek, from a Christian ethos, which I think is totally taken those scriptures out of context, that we've become a naive people.